Hi, and welcome to another one of our interview series. I'm pleased to have with us today Rachael Howitz, who is part of the Our Family Wizard co-parenting app team, which is a co-parenting communication app, which I find is absolutely phenomenal for assisting parents who are both low and high conflict to communicate effectively. So I'm very grateful, Rachael, for you to be here today to do an interview with us to help our viewers learn a little bit more about the app and how it can be useful. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
Let's get started. Can you give us some perspective on the importance of effective communication between co-parents who are parenting from two homes?
Yeah, so our goal is really to find the most effective way to help families communicate from separate homes, especially now through isolation and social distancing. Families are really experiencing new dynamics, new routines, and this can be particularly challenging, especially for children. So we believe it's really vital to support co-parents and children in their efforts to stay connected, and that our platform is crucial to co-parenting successfully now more than ever. So we really wanted this to be a one-stop place for all things related to the children.
Like a bit of a family organizer.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Communication, as you said, I mean, it's the foundation, it's the cornerstone of every co-parenting relationship. Irrespective of the level of conflict, where co-parents do have a lot of conflict, how in particular can our family wizard help to reduce that conflict?
Yeah, so there's a couple points to this. Our platform, we really wanted this to be a safe and neutral environment for both co-parents. So this is something that the security is the same for both parents, the level of access is the same for both parents. And really, one of our goals is to provide a space for more effective communication. So one of the ways that we do that is it's sort of inherently built into our features. So instead of just sending messages back and forth where things could get misconstrued, or maybe some negativity could be involved in, say, like a text message or a normal email. Really what we're trying to do is to help co-parents, input dates, facts, times into the calendar, into the expense log, into the journal feature. So really using that message feature as a last resort. That's really sort of a way to help keep things more amicable and really cut down on that conflict.
And one of the things I like, I have a lot of families that I work with using this, and one of the things that I love is really the encryption piece. So the ability to, not change messages, to be able to see when things are read, and to be able to make sure that the messages remain intact from the very from the way that it was originated to the way that it ends up at the end of the day.
Right, exactly. And that's sort of another point too. The high level of documentation within our program is definitely important as well. Just because, say in normal calendaring programs, things like that, maybe one of the co-parents could enter an item and a thing, they could, their co-parent could maybe move things around, or you don't really know what happened. That's something that we are basically doing away with within our program. So essentially, the co-parents cannot manipulate each other's items. Nothing can be deleted after it's been sent in the message feature. And there are first view read times in both the message feature and the journal feature as well. So it's really sort of transparent, that everybody knows when everyone's receiving items. So that level of documentation is really helpful for both parents.
Yeah, that's really important. I think that the best way for us to get a sense of the power of this program is to give a little demo. So can we get into that? I
Yeah,
know you have
definitely.
something, a little slideshow prepared. It might be a little bit easier than actually going into the program itself.
Yeah, definitely. I think this sort of clearly lays out the features here. So this is just sort of a broad overview of how our program, or the parent features for our program. So essentially how it works is the two co-parents have separate confidential accounts, and then they're linked to be able to communicate. Then they have access to all of these features. So we have the family-oriented calendar here. We have our message feature, expense log, info bank, our newly updated journal feature, and then of course professional access as well. So this is a sort of a picture of what it looks like on the mobile app. So it's free to download the mobile app for co-parents as well as professionals. And essentially, this is cloud-based, so this is not something that you need to download any software or anything like that. As long as you have internet access, you can access your account from wherever you are in the world, essentially. So we have not only the mobile app, but we also have the web browser version too. So you can use either from wherever you are. We did a huge facelift to our program back in October of 2019. And so this is sort of how it looks now. And down here at the bottom is how you can navigate through the system. And then right here, this is how you add a new item. Basically you can add a new item from wherever you are within the system as well. So you can click on, that little plus symbol if you're in the message board and say, oh, I forgot to add that expense. And then you can add that right away from wherever you are. So this is essentially the mobile view here, and then I'll just give you a little glimpse into the web browser version. So this is essentially what it looks like when you're logging in to your home screen, your sort of home base. This is how you navigate right up here on the top through the program. On the right-hand side is your My Account information. There's a great help section. So if you need step-by-step instructions on how to do anything within our program, you can find that there. There's also the contact information for our customer support staff. They're really great. They're super patient. So if you want a walkthrough of all of the features like I'm doing for you right now, only live, they can definitely do that, or just answer any of your questions. They can do that live over the phone or through email. And then we just rolled out a new chat feature as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And then this is who shall have access to the program here. So we have the 2 co-parents at the top, and this could be however your family situation is at the moment. So if it's 2 biological parents, if it's a biological parent and say a grandparent that has primary care, so that's something that we don't ask for that sort of information. It's just whatever works best for your family situation at the moment. Then we have the children in the scenario. So we always have you enter in the children's names into the program, so you could easily adhere the child's name to a calendar event, to an expense reimbursement, just so you can stay organized. However, if the child is old enough to utilize the account, they can in a very limited way. So essentially they can do this. This is optional and free for the child to use, but essentially they would be able to view the calendar so they can see where they're spending the weekend, that sort of thing. They can send and receive messages sent directly to them. They can't see what the parents are sending back and forth. And then they can add journal entries as well. So they can say, this is what we did for distance learning, or we went to the park today. So it's just a great way for the whole family to stay in contact. But again, that's optional and free for the child to use. The parents always have the ability to view or access the username and password, so they can always view any communications that are going back and forth. And then we have what we call our third-party account holders. That could be a grandparent, a nanny, maybe even a step-parent, someone that's highly involved in the child's scheduling. And again, that's very limited access, same as the child account. They can view the calendar. They can see if they're helping to drop off or pick up. They can send and receive messages sent directly to them, and then they can add journal entries. But again, they're not seeing what the parents are sending back and forth. That's just a way for them to stay in contact. And then you'll notice that under each name is a first or last viewed timestamp. Essentially, each portion of the program will have a last view timestamp for each person as well. So you can easily see, who's viewing the calendar last or the journal section. So you can see that's sort of a transparency feature. Notifications, these are basically any new items since the last time that you logged in. You can also have these set up to go to your outside email, your outside text. So essentially you'll get a brief message saying, hey, you have a new addition to your account. Basically, you need to click on that and log in to actually go in and view that piece of communication.
And this also comes up if you're on the mobile view, if you have your notifications set, it comes to your lock screen as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you can download the free app, and then you can also set up your notifications there as well. So you can specify if you want those badge notifications or the drop downs. However you normally like to see those is definitely available. And then you can also, if that's too many notifications, if that on action is too many pings in one day, you can also elect to have these sent as a daily digest. So every day at 5 p.m., you'll get a brief rundown of any new items as well.
My families that I've worked with have used this app for years, and this is the first time I'm really getting that in-depth, all of the ins and outs. This is really helpful to see how the app works in and of itself.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there are so many features, and it's so great. So many different aspects of the program, and we're constantly doing updates. So even if you've seen the run through before, we're always making changes and updating the program. So we're always trying to think of new ways to help families and their family law professionals as well. So.
Perfect.
Great. So this is the messaging feature here, just kind of a glimpse as to what this looks like. And we set this up to make it more like an email situation, more of an email format. Like I mentioned before, if you're just sending text messages back and forth, it's hard to stay organized. You might not know, what date something was sent or received, or you're not able to go in and do a keyword search in text messages, right? So we're sort of getting rid of all of that miscommunication and confusion. With our program, basically, it is set up more like an email for that reason, to stay more organized. So you can put in a keyword search. You can search by the subject matter or any word within the message. And then you can also create reports as well. So you can easily see everything all in one place. You're not having to piece together those text messages with emails and social media posts and things like that. It's just all in one place for you. So you can see who this is from, who it's to. Under the recipient is that first view time. So you can easily see when the recipient that you sent it to is viewing it for the first time, the subject matter, and when it was sent. Down here, you can notice that there are attachments. You can definitely add attachments, photos, videos, anything that you want to share with your co-parent. And then down here, you'd be able to see any thread of messaging that's going on as well. Something that we have that's unique to our program.
Oh, my favorite part. My favorite part.
Yay, that's great. Tone meter is basically spell check for your tone. So as you're typing your communications, it will start to flag anything that it deems aggressive, humiliating, upsetting, concerning. There are 4 different signifiers based on 8 different emotions. So it does pick up on quite a bit, not just the obvious, swear words, things like that, but also those more subtle phrases. Like, I know you'll say it's not your fault. That's aggressive. Don't be late as usual. That's humiliating. And really what this is doing is giving you that real-time feedback so that it can give you a moment to rephrase that before you send it off. So this isn't going to censor you. It's not going to prohibit you from sending it. It give you examples on what to say, but it just gives you that moment to sort of think things through before you actually send it off. So this is one of our only add-on features. With our basic subscription, it's around 125 Canadian dollars per parent per year. And this is just an extra 12 Canadian dollars per parent per year. So $12 for the whole year to use Tone Meter. And then there's actually a 1-year subscription package as well that includes Tone Meter and extra storage space at a reduced rate as well. So very helpful. It's been, we've gotten really great feedback from parents saying this has been super helpful in just trying to, sort of give me that moment to look things over before I send that off and get that real-time feedback.
So now, just as far as the price, I just want to confirm our viewers are global, and so as far as the price is concerned, my understanding is that the price is set in US dollars, and then it's whatever the person's exchange rate for their country.
That's correct.
Right?
It's based on our $99 US dollars per parent per year, and then according to their exchange rate, it will be based on that $99 US dollars per parent per year. Yep.
Perfect.
Aside from those in the UK, we do have a set price of £79 per parent per year in the UK. Okay, so, perfect. But everything else is based on the exchange rate. Yeah. So this is what the message history reports look like. So you can easily see who generated that report, what date and what time. And then everything would be listed chronologically, so you can get a clear document of all of your communications if you need to use this for meeting or court use, or even just for your records as well.
This avoids the million screenshots to your lawyer.
Right,
reports exactly. Is very helpful.
Right, and it's super helpful for both of you, and it's also going to cut down on your time as well, trying to formulate all of that and trying to bundle all of those communications together. So really, it's going to be beneficial for both of you.
And sometimes when I receive the 18 screenshots, it actually is in the wrong order, and so then I'm trying to piece together which order those 18 text message screenshots are supposed to be in. So.
Right.
Always thankful for these reports from our family wizard.
Definitely trying to make everyone's life easier. So this is the calendar feature. So you can see that the color coding for each parent runs throughout the calendar here. So you can see, as far as the overnight stays, which parent has responsibility of the children per evening or per overnight stay, or essentially their parenting schedule or child arrangement.
Mhm.
Just to show you a couple other things here, this is a pending trade swap request. So for any of those one-time changes or time modification requests, this can go through our program as well, and that's what a pending request would look like. There's also anything that you enter within the journal section would also be adhered to a date in the calendar as well. So you can see if there is a note about the day, you can click on that and it will show you. And then of course, just like any other calendaring system, we have one-time or reoccurring events that you can enter in as well.
Mhm.
As far as the parenting schedule, this is a quick way for you to be able to go in and actually set this up. And actually, we are in the midst of an update to this portion of the program as well. So we actually are rolling it out this week. So if you haven't seen it already, and you will be seeing it soon, but there is a new format as far as entering the parenting schedule. But we definitely try to make this as an easy as process as possible. Basically, you choose a title, you would choose an interval. We also have, some commonly used schedules already entered in as a template. So it's definitely a lot easier for you to go in and just plug in the names instead of having to reinvent the wheel each time. And then we also have the beginning and end time here. So this is a year in this particular scenario, which child this refers to. And then you can actually go in and adhere which parent has the children for the overnight stays per your agreement. If there's a drop off or pickup time, this is can be specified here as well. So in this update that we're in the midst of right now, this is going to look a little bit differently. And unfortunately, I don't have a slide on this at the moment, but it's
Well,
really.
we'll get you in for an update. We'll do a
Yeah.
little 5-minute clip to show the update. It'll be sort of an addendum to our interview. That'll be perfect.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to. You can also enter in holidays. So if there are some general holidays here that these are actually based on the US holidays. So if they don't refer to your particular area as far as the actual date of that particular holiday, you can actually go in and create custom holidays.
National Ice Cream Day.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
it's an important date for this family. So
Perfect.
it's an
Don't
important
tell
date,
my children about National Ice Cream Day.
right?
Well, I
Exactly.
think on August 18th of every year, kids are probably eating ice cream. So it's the middle of the summer, except in Australia.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. So these refer to the overnight stays for just these particular dates, but yeah, definitely you can go in and create custom holidays, birthdays, special religious events, anything that you basically want to enter in, or custom time frames. You can definitely enter those in and adhere them to either parent as well, either according to your agreement or according to the court order, if that's applicable. And then based on your year view here, you can get a clear picture of the overnight stays, and then you can see special holiday months like November, December are overridden by holidays that they've entered in. You can also, view or print the calendar off by day, week, month, or year. So if you want to print this off and put it on your refrigerator, you definitely can, just to help you keep organized. So you don't have to go through and use a marker and color code everything anymore. This is just a quick, easy way for you to do that. One-time or reoccurring events, this is basically just like many other calendaring systems, but it's very family-oriented. Again, we have some features built in here, especially for families. We have the start and end time with the color overlay that refers to the drop-off parent and the pickup parent for these events, which child this refers to, and down at the bottom, everything is listed down here as far as the history. So only the parent that creates this event can go in and make any changes. The co-parent cannot manipulate this item. Even if the author did make any changes, they would all be listed here. So if it did, if the date was changed for any reason, you would be able to see what happened here. Anything that was entered in prior to today's date cannot be manipulated by either parent. And that's just to, as a safety feature, to keep everything accountable and show exactly what you agreed upon. But if something didn't go as planned, maybe a game or a match got rained out, you can actually put in a note via the journal section as well. We also have trade swap requests that, like I mentioned here. So this, we're trying to make this as quick and easy for you as possible, but essentially we condense this to the most vital pieces of information for these trades or swap requests for parenting time. So you do get a short reason here. It's about the size of a tweet or so. You would have an expiration date, or essentially this respond by date. You'd have to enter that in, who's taking responsibility, and then the dates in question here. If this is indeed a true time for time swap, you can definitely enter in the other dates in question. Or if you're looking to just give parenting time or ask to take parenting time, you can definitely do that as well. And then once all of that information has been entered, then the co-parent would have the ability to review that information. Now they can approve, refuse, or refuse to make a counteroffer. And all of this would be noted in the system as well. You can definitely create a report about these. So it would go from this this pending request here, like I showed you. Then once it has been approved, it would change it to the color of the parent that now has that responsibility. So you don't have to go in and make those changes. It just automatically updates for you.
That's on the calendar.
Yep, exactly. And this little question mark just refers to that was a product of a trade swap request. You can click on that and it will show you all that information if you need to review that. And this is what those trade swap reports look like. So if you do need to make a PDF or print those for either meeting or court use or send it to your lawyer, you definitely can that way. But all of these reports are available for both parents as well as the professional that's attached to your account as well. Our journal feature, this is one of the areas that we did most of our updates to back in 2019. So what we did here is we sectioned it off into two portions. We have moments and check-ins. If you have tone meter, you can use tone meter throughout the journal. There are first few timestamps for all entries. You can add photos, videos, anything you want to those entries as well. And then there's also a filter and keyword search for this as well. Moments, those are more for those day-to-day activities, notes about the day, feeding schedule for a small child, medication schedule that you want the co-parent to adhere to, things like that. But this is also a great way to share more positive aspects of your parenting time. So this is a way for you to say, this is what we did yesterday. We went and had brunch. We had a great time. So really it's perfect for sharing those memories, milestones, other important things that are going on for your family.
And this is also something that the children can also have access to send these moments to the other parent.
Yep,
that's right.
Yeah, basically they can say, this is what we did for distance learning, or we went to the park today, we had a great time. So it's a great way to sort of stay up to date as far as what the children are doing as well. Check-ins, these are a little bit different. These are more for those contact exchanges where you need to prove where you said you were at a particular date and time. So this is essentially taking your location within 500 feet of your exact location on your mobile device. You can't just check in from across town or anything like that. This is really exactly from where you're standing. And this is more for, again, verifying your arrival or departure at a particular event or drop off or pickup. So this is really replacing the need for you to go into a coffee shop to buy a cup of coffee and have that time-stamped receipt. This is a way for you to do this on your phone, essentially. You cannot edit the date after the fact or the location after the fact. It's really sort of set in history, but you can update this little message if you ever need to. Even if that message was updated, you'd be able to see all of that history located down here.
And the other thing I remember you mentioning to me as well is that this app doesn't track your location at all times. You have to ask it to pinpoint, right?
Yes, exactly. This is
there we go.
Yeah.
One slide early.
Yeah, that's okay. No, that's a great point. This is not something that's tracking you at all times or anything like that. This is just a way for you to go in and optionally utilize this feature if you want to. Basically, we will only access your location if you have given us permission to do so. So if you went into your phone settings and actually went in and said, always, never, only when using app, or you shut it off completely, you would have to go in and give us that permission. And then you'd actually have to go in and physically create a check-in or tag a location to a moment for it to show where you were, where you are. So you can always, you have complete control over sharing a location at any time. You can go in your app's access and turn that off if you never intend to use it, but essentially you have control over that.
There's nothing automatic about the GPS part. Unless you,
definitely
you have to actually create it, and not only allow, but also create that check-in.
Yes, steps. Definitely.
That's important.
That's exactly right. There is a reporting feature for the journal section as well. So basically you generate that report and you'd be able to see everything all in one place. If you do need to produce a report like this or just save it for your own records, basically you'd be able to see that. And then you can see, the only difference here is there wouldn't be a map snippet or a photo attached if you did have one attached to a particular entry. But if you did tag a location, you could see that there's a physical address here. So
Mhm.
InfoBank, so this is a place to store all of that vital information for children. So this is information that maybe was living in one home, now it's living in two homes. So it makes sense to have access for both parents to be able to go in and review this information or have access to that if they need to. So I just want to show you a couple of things here. So Family Vitals, this is a great place to store that vital information for children. So each child will have their own tab up here at the top. You can then put in, eye color, hair color, blood type, that sort of information, clothing sizes, which is really nice. So you can,
Mhm.
basically enter that in. And, essentially before the program, if you were out shopping or your co-parent was out shopping for a birthday present and maybe they forgot, or, you'd have to call each other or text each other, maybe
Mhm.
an argument might ensue. So this is just a way to avoid all of that negativity and sort of cut down on the back and forth for you as well. If you just enter this information in and then both of you have access to go in and see, what date this was entered, if you need to size up or anything like that.
Well, that's the
So
challenge as children keep growing. Almost, a shoe size. I know for my children, I have to, every 3 months I would have to update. That's the nature of it.
yeah,
Mhm.
it happens fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's why it's important to keep up to date because it really is a family organizer. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's gonna help cut down on the conflict for sure. If you're limiting your back and forth, this is a great way
Mhm.
to do that by just entering this information in. Health information, this is all the medical information for each child, their providers, their medications, immunizations, all of that information can be listed here.
Mhm.
Again, very important, especially in these times when both parents do need to have access to that, especially if they're, maybe on holiday and end up hopefully not, but end up in the emergency room or something like that at 3 in the morning instead of having to call each other or text each other. If you just need one piece of information, you can just log in and review that information if you need
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And then finally, My Files. This is a great place to upload and store any documents that you'd like to share between you and your co-parent. You can also create private entries as well. So essentially, you can also change the privacy settings for each document. So if you do have a court document that you would like to share only with your professional, but then maybe in 3 months you want to share it with your co-parent, then you can actually go in and change that privacy setting if you want to. But essentially, this is a great place to store all of those documents, keep them all in one place.
Mhm.
Also, anything having to do with the child, so school reports, photographs, artwork that you just want to share.
Report
Basically,
cards.
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And anything that you're sending back and forth via the message feature will automatically be uploaded here as well. So you don't have to dig through your inbox to try to find anything. It will just automatically live here as well as any photos that are attached to moments or, receipt files that are attached to the expense log entries. All of that will live here. Um, And then again, like I said, if it does live within the program anywhere else, essentially, you can view that information. You can click on where it lives and it will pop up and show you basically where it lives within the system and if you want to actually view that moment or that message. And then finally, the expense log. This is the last of the main features for the co-parents. So essentially, this is a log for all of your shared expenses. So as you can see here, the color coding is running throughout the system here. Everything will auto reconcile down at the bottom so you can easily see who still owes what, that sort of thing. And I just want to show you how this works on your mobile device, just because this is really quick and easy. Essentially, you would just enter in if you're requesting reimbursement or providing reimbursement, you would enter in the title, the full amount of that expense, and then based on which category you choose here, that will automatically divvy that up for you. So essentially, we've entered in some 50-50 categories for you to utilize, but you can also customize these. So if this type
Mhm.
of expense is actually a 60-40 split for your family, you can choose that, and then this will do the math for you so you don't have to. Um, you would put in the purchase date. This could also be in the past. So if you have some unreimbursed, items still lingering out there, you can definitely enter those in. And then which child this refers to. Then you can go ahead and just upload that receipt file directly from your phone. You can either take photo or choose existing, and then automatically upload that directly into that expense. So you don't have to worry about bringing it home and scanning it or losing it, anything like that. you can just upload that right from your phone. And then I know this question is going to come up as well, but
Oh,
essentially,
let's just go into it. It's much
yeah.
easier to share like this. Yeah.
Definitely. So I know the question about security comes up quite a bit. We do have, very, very high security standards. This is something that's very important to us. We have multiple levels of encryption, which basically means both in motion and at rest. So if you stop typing for whatever reason and you're just reading an email, all of your information is still being encrypted and being kept safe. Essentially, that's an extra level of security that we definitely adhere to and find that to be very important. We're also GDPR compliant for those of you in the UK and Europe. But just to let you know, we do go that extra mile to make sure all of this confidential information is kept safe and private. We're basically on par with most financial institutions or even higher. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah.
And that's one of the things that I talk about with clients when I recommend our Family Wizard, is I say, that's the one thing I know about our Family Wizard is that the security features are really quite high level, and it would be a really important thing when you're looking for, you know, various co-parenting apps and seeing which one's right for your family. Is the security features, in my view, is something that's so important because you're putting really, really personal information in these apps.
Mhm.
So this is really important to see.
Very important. And I just wanted to touch on this for just a moment. When I mentioned the pricing as well earlier, we do have a fee waiver program and a military discount program, and these are available globally too. So if you, this is the US version, we have a Canadian version, we have Australian version, we have a UK version. So if you need
Mhm.
a different version, just let me know. But essentially, this is a one page, and they're also listed on our website as well. So you can definitely go in and find them there. But this would waive this fee entirely if you qualify. So essentially, if you are found indigent of the court, or if you're, found deemed necessary by the court, if you are working with a pro bono representation, if you are receiving any sort of government assistance or benefits, if you're working with legal aid, and if you're escaping domestic violence and you're in a shelter kind of situation, you would all qualify for a full fee waiver for that entire year. You're welcome to reapply at the end of that year. So definitely reapply if you
Mhm.
still qualify for sure. And then when the military discount is basically buy one, get one free for military families. So you just pay one subscription fee and then both parents can use the program. So we're definitely committed to making sure that every family can use our program despite their financial situation. We give away thousands of these every year. This is really important to us. And we're also helping out COVID families if you've been furloughed, if you lost your job and you need to be put on a payment plan. That's definitely something that we can help with. You can just call our customer support staff and you can work directly with them.
Yeah.
This is our customer support information as well. So if you do need one of those forms or if you want to speak to someone about options, anything like that, feel free to reach out. We also have specific toll-free numbers for each country as well. So if you go into our website, you can find this is the US version, obviously. And then we also have those different phone numbers listed within our contact information on our website as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I was interested. You talked about COVID, and I'm interested to hear a little bit more about what you've experienced at our Family Wizard as far as the change in use during the pandemic. If there's been an increase in use or a change in the way that the features are being used, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So we've been seeing some huge increases in the usage of the platform since the lockdown began last year. So we recently made again, like I mentioned, we made significant updates to the program and launched that revamp for the journal feature. So those GPS verified check-ins have gone through an uptick of use. The whole journal feature really has been, there's been an uptick
Mhm.
in use of that. Um, we've seen a consistent 50% jump over last year or the year prior, meaning that parents and kids are sharing more files and photos and videos with each other. So those are some of the major portions that are seeing an uptick in use. We've also seen increases in people utilizing the info bank, like I mentioned, to store all of that vital information, especially now during these times. It's really important to have that medical and school information, all of those contact numbers be available to both parents as well.
Mhm. Mhm. The way I always describe it, or one of the ways I describe this to families, is you can communicate without the need for a dialogue.
Exactly. Yeah. definitely.
you know. And the information stays, as you said, in the info bank or in at various places. It stays in there, and then you can get the information without having to ask at, as you said, at 3 in the morning in the emergency room or for the health number or those kinds of things.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
hmm Well, the last thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit more about the professionals' access and how that can help families. I always say, very selfishly, that's one of the best parts that I love about it is I can go in there and excuse me, get the information that I need directly without having to receive 18 screenshots of text messages. But can you describe a little bit more about the professionals' access?
Yeah, definitely. So any professional that you have that you're working with, essentially, it could be your lawyer, a mental health practitioner, a guardian ad litem, a mediator, anyone that is a professional, essentially working with you in your case, a social worker, CAFCAS worker. All of those people can be basically you can connect to your account essentially. So once you're logged into your account, you can essentially send a link request to them directly, and or they can send a link request to you, but only one of those would need to happen, and you just need to approve it. And essentially, then they would have access to be able to go in and review those communications. And like I mentioned, it's free for professionals for them to use it. They would have the ability to go and review those communications. They can print off reports if they need to. So if you're used to copying your lawyer on every single message, things like that, you don't have to copy them on every single message. You can just say, I've given you access to my Our Family Wizard account. You can go in and review those whenever you need to.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things clients ask me sometimes, okay, so if I give you access, are you generally going to go in and, check out our messages and then of course they're, charged for those questions. And what I always describe is I say, I've got, dozens of families that are using this. I've got access through my professional's account. And typically what I do is if a client will email me and say, look, we had an issue over the past couple of days. Can you go look at the last couple of days worth of messages? And so that's where I can go in and be pointed about what I, need to help them to resolve through the directed request for me to go in. But of course I can generally go in, but I tend to not have time for that. There's too many families to help.
Right, exactly. I know that it's different for every professional as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something that you can work out with, whoever that you're working with
hmm
essentially. But really, we've definitely seen that it's been helpful for the professionals as well as you as parents, just because it's going to cut down on the amount of time that, like you said before, if you're trying to sift through all of these different communication styles like text messages
Yes.
and emails, that's actually you're going to spend more time trying to piece all of these items together versus just printing off one report from Our Family Wizard, or
hmm
putting together these pieces of communication. It's going to hopefully reduce the fees as far as,
hmm
yeah. So
Yeah.
organization is very helpful.
And the other piece to it too is I find that when people know that they are being watched or they can be watched by the professionals or the whomever, I find that people tend to be a little bit more. There's more accountability as far as the language that they use in messages. That they know not. No, I mean, text messages certainly could be sent to the professionals, but and so any recorded message, of course, can be viewed, but I find that when they know that the professional is attached to the account, I find that people tend to be less inflammatory. And again, if that can help to reduce conflict for the family, that's a win-win.
Right, exactly. And that's definitely something that we've noticed as well, is having the oversight of the parent activity by a professional is going to help keep things more amicable as well. Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Rachel, are there any final comments that you wanted to make before we wrap up? That demo was so in depth. It went into a lot of the questions that we were going to go into in any event, so we covered them all through that demo. But if there's any final things that you want to mention before we wrap up today.
Yeah, I don't think I have too much else. We did go through quite extensively through everything, but again, if you have any questions or you'd like more information, our website is really helpful. You can go in and look out the tips and tricks. There are resources for families. We have a blog, so we're really trying to be helpful in so many ways to families, and not just our communication tool, but sort of also creating a space for parents to access resources and more information about co-parenting. So yeah, definitely reach out to our customer support staff if you have any other questions, or you could point your family law professional to me, and I can help answer their questions. But yeah, we're definitely. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having me, and it was so great to speak with you and to have a chance to speak to all of your viewers as well. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great. And if anything that we can do for our community members to help them to have a more effective co-parenting relationship and their journey uh, into two homes being more effective, that's what our goal is. So thank you so much for helping us today, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie. Take care.
Thanks.